We are in the AJCO conference in Nairobi, Kenya, and with me I'm with Professor Djiby, who will allow to introduce himself. Prof, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Djiby Thiam. I'm an academic at the University of Cape Town, and I'm an economist by training, and I'm a professor in economics.
Okay. So, Prof, it's the AJCO meeting. We see a lot of internationals attending this conference. Can you please tell us your participation in this conference?
Thanks for the question. We got here for our project because we are part of the AJCO initiative, the African-Japan Collaborative Research. Our project looks at water management in South Africa and Botswana. It's a project that is being run by the University of Cape Town and the University of Fohe, both in South Africa, the University of Tokyo in Japan, and the University of Botswana in Mao.
Okay. So the project is called WhatsApp, if I'm
WhatsApp,
not...
that's
yes.
right.
When you presented it or told me about it, I thought of my own WhatsApp. How did you guys come up with this name?
No, exactly, you're right, because usually when you write a proposal, you want to have an acronym that is catchy, at least to draw people's attention. That's what we wanted to have. We know that WhatsApp is a software that is used by a lot of people. By naming our project WhatsApp, it's going to be a familiar name. It's not going to be something odd. People are already familiar with the naming. That's why we came up with the acronym.
Okay. Talking about water management, when I was doing my honors in Cape Town, I know that we were getting 2 liters per day.
Yeah.
Is that the problem that you guys are trying to solve, or there's another problem beyond that?
You're right. When we talk about water, most of the time we think about water quantity. There is not enough water or there is too much water. We have also water events that affect people's welfare, how they live, their social welfare. But water goes beyond the quantity element because it also encapsulates the quality aspect. When farmers they use fertilizers and pesticides to grow crops in order to increase the yield, there is something we call runoff. That runoff goes back to the river, and through its way back, it actually pollutes the river. Then therefore, this project addresses both water quantity as well as water quality. Something that is particular in the South African context, we know that most of our wastewater treatment plants in South Africa, they're not operating at their full capacity. Our project also is trying to investigate policy that can be implemented in order for those wastewater treatment plants to actually be not only fixed but maintained to increase the reliability of water access.
Oh, okay. You told me that you guys have submitted papers already, which
Exactly.
means that the project is really moving. Can you please give us insight? What have you found so far? What's happening in the program?
Right. The papers that have been submitted, they fall under the research component of the project. The project has 3 major components. Component 1 is the research, component 2 is the capacity strengthening, and component 3 is the policy outreach. Under the component 1, we have submitted a couple of papers. One of them is looking at a comparison between Japan and South Africa, and the comparison is tailored towards wastewater treatment plant. We're looking at the technologies that are being used in Japan, whether they can actually be sort of implemented in South Africa in a way that they are tailored to the South African context. We're not in a framework where we import things just blindly, but we want to make sure that anything that is imported is actually matching the socio-economic context of the country. This is one paper that is currently being under reviewed. There is also another paper that looks at people's behavior in changing the way they use water. We know that knowingly or unknowingly, and most of the time we don't pay attention to that, but the way we behave does affect the volume of water we consume. By changing our behavior, we can directly and indirectly change the amount of water that is consumed. Now, in our second paper, we're looking at factors that might actually contribute into smoothing the water consumption in several provinces in South Africa. And we made use of data collected in South Africa to run the model. And remember at the beginning, I was telling you about the water quality aspect. We also wanted to come up with research that looks at how water quality does affect economic performance. Farm yield, economic production. This is also a paper that has been developed in this project.
Okay. I hear that in the papers you are really telling us what you guys are looking into, or the aims.
Right.
But because there's a publication, is there any maybe hypothesis that has been
Exactly.
identified
No,
so far? Yeah.
you're right. This is a good question. Any academic paper usually starts with an assumption, what we want to test. In the second paper that I have mentioned, we started with assumptions about what might be the matrix of factors that affect people's behavior when it comes to using water. Now, that matrix has different components. Income is in there, education is in there, ability to process information is in there. The socio-economic context and the environmental context also are there. And usually the approach we use to sort of gather those information is we do a literature review. We look at papers that have been published in the field by other scientists. And when we sort of identify those factors, we test them. We go to the field, we sit with the policymakers. Actually, we were in Mpumalanga. We met with several policymakers in order to find out whether our assumptions actually do make sense to the context we are operating in. Then literally these are our assumptions. But if I give two major assumptions we wanted to test, assumption number one is whether by increasing information about the benefits associated with water-saving behavior, people, then consumers, will actually effectively change their water consumption. This is assumption number one. Assumption number two was, this is now the assumption that goes to agriculture. We know that water pollution in our context comes from agriculture. We wanted to know whether by actually incentivizing farmers in order for them to reduce less pesticides and fertilizers, whether that incentive will lead to a decrease in water pollution. That's what we have tested, and we got results based on those assumptions.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for sharing. I'll be on the look in my email. Please do share the link once the paper is published so that I can read more about it. We are still in the AJCO Sarai meeting in Nairobi, Kenya.